There's a place in the Midwest that's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning, with beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest that's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning, with beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest that's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning, with beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest, and it's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning. With beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest, and it's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning. With beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest, and it's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning. With beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest that's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world. And when the work ends, the day's just beginning. With beaches like West Beach in the Indiana Dunes National Park, exciting hiking and biking trails like the Diana of the Dunes Dare or the BMX track, and local treasures and exciting festivals, you'll know you're in more than just a bedroom community. From veterans of foreign wars to hometown heroes, our diversity is our strength, and we forge our future with the same flame as our steel. Oh, there's a place in the Midwest that's calling you home. The best part of Portage is what's next. The best part of Portage is you. There's more for you in Indiana. There's a place in the Midwest, 50 miles southeast of Chicago, nestled near the coast of Lake Michigan. It's a place driven by what's coming next, a place where industry is the lifeblood of its community, and its pulse is gritted with sand and steel, fire and smoke. It's a city building its future together, one business, one family, and one home at a time. This is a place for makers, doers, and dreamers. It's where the global marketplace meets hometown values, where Americana isn't just a tradition, it's a way of life. Here, your experience makes the difference. With access to railroads, major waterways, and 8 different highways, this is a place in motion, sending goods, services, and ideas not just across the state, but across the world.
Welcome to the RDC meeting. Will you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we please do the roll call? Here.
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 Did everybody have the opportunity to look at the minutes from March 20th? And is there a motion? If so?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We have the payment of claims. Did everyone have a chance to look at the claims? And were there any questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. That gets us to staff reports. Dan, I've got listed that we have a report from American Structure Point. Did you want to go first, or what was your plan for that?
Just have them bring them up and speak on Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Central Avenue.
If you guys are ready to come and speak, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mayor and board members. My name is Todd Rozicki with American Structure Point. I am the project engineer on Phase 1 and 2 out there on site daily. I'm filling in for John Tucker tonight as he was unable to attend this meeting. So normally he's here, but I am for this evening. For Phase 1 update, after completing the load transfer platform on both sides of Willow Creek earlier this year, the contractor began bridge construction prior to embankment on both sides of Willow Creek. Fast forward to today, and both bridge bends have been completed. The beams were set 2 weeks ago, and the deck is scheduled to be poured sometime next week. The embankment construction continues west and east of Willow Creek before storm sewer work can begin. Generally, the project is trending ahead of schedule with intermediate completion date later this fall. And then phase 2 as well. I thought it said phase 1 and 2. So the trees were felled on March 27th and 28th. The contractor is now waiting on their subcontractor to come in and finish clearing the trees before they plan to begin construction of the 2 detention ponds, one on each end of the project. And then the building owned by the city of Portage is at the intersection of Willowdale and Central will soon be raised. And then, so until the trees are cleared, there's going to be no other work than that at this time. So it's just waiting on some progress by others.
Are there any questions?
No?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And then, Mr. Bowditch, did you have anything to go into?
There was only one staff report. I just wanted to bring it up today. We were notified by the clerk's office that we did receive a check for $759,000, $171.20, which is the 80% of the 2 CNG trucks, which is the 80% that the commission paid. It was a total of $1,890,000. We put up the full amount as the Redevelopment Commission. That is, since it's only 2 trucks of 4, it's basically about 1/2 of that 80%. We will be receiving the rest when the other 2 trucks are delivered, and it goes through the NDOT reimbursement process. And then by the end of the year, the city will reimburse the remaining 20% in the amount of about $378,000. So it doesn't show up on this month's appropriations report or revenues report, but it was $759,000 that was receipted in. So that's always a good sign to get cash back. That's all I had.
Thank you. So that gets us onto old business. We have Greg Lack for discussion on signage for column by fire department entering Founders Square.
Still working on?
No problem. That gets us back to Dan Bowditch for discussion on the home TIF RHDPS for Bauer Farm and Sandy Trail.
We are still completing the residential home program that needs to be submitted and forwarded to the Redevelopment Commission. The only remaining portion to do is to calculate the tax increment revenue and the tax impact, tax levy impact to the city's tax rates. And once we have those, we'll have that in a final form so we can submit that next month on your May agenda, and that'll start the process. So once the Redevelopment Commission accepts the program, June will be a declaratory resolution, at which time the Portage Township assessor will be invited, and then that'll start the process for sending it to the necessary entities prior to a confirmatory resolution and public hearing.
Thank you very much. Any questions? That'll get us to Kelly Smith for consideration for maintenance at the park. Kelly, you can come up, but as you come up, I'm going to start. So we met earlier last week, and then this week, and then today, and what we discussed was essentially the angle of it's not an ideal situation for the RDC to be directly subsidizing employees, but what we can have is an agreement for services, whereas because RDC owns property, we're asking the park department to service, we can bill for those services at an approved amount. Kind of like how we do with our SROs. We don't like directly have the school system pay for the SROs. We essentially have a service agreement with the school system where we provide SROs, they pay an amount, and we budgeted what that amount should be. And so on that note, I know that I was out for a portion of it, but I believe you got to meet with Andy and Leanne to talk about that.
Yes, I did. Also, I just want to mention that there were some questions after the last meeting, and I did send over some answers to those. I don't know if you had the chance to review them as well. Were you guys able to review all the answers?
I did.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because there was there was a lot of discussion about mowing, but I think I want to touch on the fact that it's not just mowing; it's the landscaping beds, the cleaning, the repairs, and other maintenance that we also incur from all of those RDC properties. So it's not just mowing. There's a lot of other things that need to be done. The RDC spent a hefty amount last year, to get all those things up to par, and the parks have really taken the lead on that already this year. I mean, open air is already fully mulched, the bushes have been trimmed, we've been mowing, Frank Gilbert, things like that. So I just wanted to mention that. Mayor, did you want me to touch on what we discussed?
I would say the thing you sent me the email about, let's wait because we have some time on that. But in
Understood.
regards to this particular, deal and proposal, one of the things I would know is about what areas of RDC property could this be expanded to? So like right now, we have the street department doing the mowing and the work that's at Founders Square and at the Little League fields. With this proposal, would we be able to have that taken over by the parks, which then also frees the street department up to do more, or
Yeah,
where are we at with
correct.
that?
So parks would then go, we've already taken over so much of that mowing. This is week 2, and they've really been doing a great job. Could also then take back over Founders, which of course was the RDC, as well as the ball fields, because we groom the fields, chalk them, take care of all of that as well. So that would definitely be possible, yes.
And I think that the other thing that we talked, and Andy, I don't know if you'd be comfortable speaking a bit, but when we looked at the amount of money that we were looking to provide for, I think one of the big things we were concerned about was providing enough money that would actually fund full-time people gets complicated because full-time comes with the health insurance, which is a huge benefit and sometimes an unpredictable benefit because you might hire somebody who's single and then we're paying $11,000 a year, but he might get married and then now it's 24 and then he might have a kid, maybe not necessarily all in the same year, but things can happen. And things happen, all I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's a lot to put on the RDC, which is part of where the concern is with like directly subsidizing somebody, which is where we talked about the park utilizing this more for part-timers. And it wouldn't be that we would be directly funding something that then goes into part-timers doing the work described, but I think it frees up the organizing of the park labor in a way that allows that work to be done. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's correct. I think it would take just a little bit of time to find the right people, get them trained to make sure that, they're capable and can do that. Otherwise, we would have them backfill our other jobs, and our primary mowing crew could take over those additional responsibilities.
Yeah, if you wouldn't
Yeah.
mind, Andy, that'd be, speaking
Yeah,
as
so
the,
in essence, what we're talking about is the park will calculate what those costs are to take care of those RDC properties, and then obviously they'll use the proceeds of that to hire some part-time help to take care of that stuff, kind of in a nutshell, as opposed to hiring full-time people. We get more bodies if we do part-time folks for that money, but it'll be a calculation that's figured out on how much it's going to take care of those properties that they'll ask the RDC to contract the park department to do.
with it being a contracted agreement, I guess my question would be, do we need a formal, like, it could be an MOU, but some sort of written agreement between the park board and the RDC? And is it best to have that prepared and signed by both before we pass this? I'm seeing the attorney nod his head.
Yeah, just so both boards are well aware, they know who's paying for what and for what reason and for how long.
And I think that that's good because then it puts a time limit on it. So future administrations, future park boards, future RDCs have the ability to review that within a duration of time.
And the belief is this is a much better way of doing it than coming down to RDC and just say, hey, give us some money to pay for some people.
At the end of the
Which makes a
day,
lot more sense.
we're going to be paying someone to do this kind of work on our RDC property. So the question is, if we're paying the parks to do it, well, just like we would sign a contract with a landscaping company, we're signing a contract with our parks. And I think this is more transparent. I also think that it's much more professional, and I think to our attorney's good advice, it's documentable. We can actually say where, say I get abducted by aliens and a new mayor comes in, has no knowledge of the stuff we were doing, it can't be undone without reviewing existing agreements,
In terms of liability, and they're working on RDC properties, who would be liable in the event that there would be an accident?
So I
Something
think
like
that's a good question, but that's a question we could ask right now with this agreement or not, because we already have the park doing work on RDC properties. So I think the question for our attorney is there already an answer to that question, or is this a good opportunity to write down the answer to that question?
Whether, I don't believe our insurance cares whether the redevelopment commission owns it, the city of Portage owns it, the sanitation department owns it, et cetera. It's all
We have one insurance policy that covers anything with the name City of Portage on it.
correct. So I don't believe as long as we're talking about other city employees working on the city property, we don't have that issue. If we have a contractor coming in, again, we're covered.
If we were taking over and I'm not being unserious, if another city was paying us to help with their park system, it sounds like that would be a question of whose insurance is it on, but if we all have one unified insurance policy, we're good on that front.
Thank you.
So this would be for 2 part-time positions, not full-time?
So it would be an amount that's worked out in an agreement, and whatever that amount is, when that money goes to the parks, they would use that money to put towards their part-time budget. So we're not trying to quantify how many people are being hired so much as find out what's the appropriate amount of money to pay a park department to do professional services for us.
It's somewhat, Commissioner, it's somewhat of a cost allocation of their time back to from our funds to them, to reimburse them for the work that the Parks Department is doing.
And I don't mean to be funny at all. It would actually be like if we had hired a company, like a private company, to do this work. We wouldn't normally ask the company for the amount we're paying, how many people are they paying with it. It's good for us to know, but yeah, that's where I think that we're treating this like a business arrangement, not as Andy said it very well, we're trying to get past the going to Uncle RDC days and more of Uncle RDC does need to pay someone to do his yard work,
As well as, Mayor, and for the commission's purposes, as well as efficiencies, so that if the Parks Department is cutting grass, they can, on that day, they can include our properties in that grass cutting period and then just allocate the number of hours that they spent on our property. If they were mulching or doing other landscaping work, they would fit it into what our property is and cost allocate that or hourly allocate that to us. So there is an efficiency to it.
It'd almost be no different than paying Allen's, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Same thing.
So, yeah.
So I think with that, do we need an actual motion right now, or are we able to just proceed with getting an agreement drawn up and then we bring it to our next meeting? And I don't,
Do a motion to direct me to begin drafting the MOU and circulate it.
is anyone inclined to make the motion?
I make that motion.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I almost lost my place. Here we go. Number 8.1. Yes. Dan Bowditch for consideration of game plan solutions. 2025 agreement for professional services to assist the commission with grant, foundation, sponsorship, funding, opportunity identification for downtown development project.
So today, this afternoon, David Uran is with us. This agreement is to assist the Redevelopment Commission with identifying potential grants, sponsorships, and foundations for an economic development project of a recreational sports nature in potentially downtown Portage. So it's a function of understanding the background of David Uran. He is a prior mayor of the city of Crown Point who has, and if Dave can come up, I'd appreciate it. To the podium, or you can sit here. You can
Oh,
sit-
Dave, I didn't even see you
Podium's
there.
probably
I'm
better.
sorry. I always try to acknowledge when a mayor, current, former, thank you for being here today.
Well, thanks for having me, and it's great to sit in the crowd.
So David, yeah, nice to be on the opposite side for once,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So David was very instrumental in bringing sports facilities to the city of Crown Point as a means of economic development and sports tourism. He has a background and deep knowledge in understanding how funding sources can be, opportunities can be identified, as well as putting together those links and getting us the necessary giving us necessary preparation to submit applications and guide us through that process. Again, whether it's a state, federal, or local grant through an entity, or through a private foundation, or sponsorships. Basically, there was other assistance that David can provide, Game Plan Solutions can provide. However, we'd like to focus on this time specifically on the grant funding, sponsorship, and foundation approach before we take other action. But if I would turn it over to David to give a quick presentation on how you can provide us support.
Thank you, and Commissioner and Mayor. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. And Dan did a nice job of kind of explaining a little bit of my background. And just coming off the heels of what you just had with talking about your Parks Department and multitasking and having different entities work together, it would be great to be able to have additional revenue sources to come into the community to offset some of those costs. Every day you're being challenged from either from the federal government to the state government to do more with less here in your community, and to be able to have outside resources come in to offset those things will make your quality of life for your residents and business owners and visitors who come to Portage to utilize your sports complexes or parks and recreational type activities. That'll also keep with assessed valuation going up. When you have solid parks departments, you have an opportunity to collect more based on those tax caps that are associated with the state of Indiana. The scope that I would bring would be to find those partnerships to be able to come in here, whether it's larger philanthropic opportunities to help partner with your current RDC dollars, businesses who want to come in and support and have more advertisement that comes through. My goal would be able to help offset some of those things that you have in your general fund budget and have a revenue stream coming in to support other programs so you can utilize those dollars each and every year in other places, whether it's public safety, road improvements, and things of those natures, to have some different opportunities and different buckets that can fill up to give you a little stronger dollar here in Portage. So there's a lot of opportunities. One thing I'm very proud of as the former mayor in Crown Point, when I first got elected in 2008, our budget for our Parks Department was around $800,000. And when I left, it was over $2.1 million, and it didn't come from general fund dollars. It came from uses and sources that comes from facilities that we built, and all those extra dollars were able to then be put back in your general fund for other uses and sources, because it ever changes, and you're always asked to do with more with less. And so that's where I like to bring my expertise and match the mayor's vision and this RDC's vision on how you guys are improving quality of life and where those dollars can be collected from.
One thing I'd like to just confirm, the Parks Department in Crown Point is self-sufficient.
It is.
There are no tax dollars associated with
That is correct. And the
So-
RDC was a big part of that with the
Right.
grants that we were able to pull in through private entities, businesses, and philanthropic organizations who help match those programs. But the one thing I know that when you go to those organizations that can actually help write a check, they're going to see how much skin in the game you have
Right.
locally here through your other organizations, whether it's private and public.
Right. So the point being is the ultimate goal would be for the Parks Department to be self-sufficient and not reliant on property tax distributions, but on revenue, sole user fee revenues, so that staff can be used based upon the necessary time and equipment that is sole sourced from user fees, not from taxes, property taxes, which then shifts other dollars to other departments, as well as opens up Redevelopment Commission dollars. I can state for a fact, as I am a resident of Crown Point, that on weekends, when there are AAU tournaments, or whether it's softball, soccer, baseball, rugby,
Hockey, not today,
Hockey,
but hockey in the wintertime, yes.
hockey in the wintertime, there are individuals in the restaurants and stores at all times when they're not playing. So it is active throughout the year, and you can see how the revenue sources increase. So I would make a recommendation for this agreement. The funds are available in professional fees for the agreement to be approved. Having lived in Crown Point for 23, 24 years now, I can see the change. And in addition to the sports development, and please verify and confirm if I'm wrong, there have been retail, commercial, restaurants, and hotels, as well as medical facilities specific to sports that have been built in Crown Point. And that could be hundreds of millions of dollars just because of the sports destination. So it has been, would that be a true statement?
Yes, that's
Yes.
true. And your guys' prime location near the interstate and the toll road, you guys are destined to be the sports amateur capital of Porter County here.
Right. So I would make a recommendation to approve.
I think just to put it as simple as I can, not every element of a government is able to make revenue in a business sense. You know, police, you know, fire, a lot of what we do is not something that makes money. Sometimes government literally exists for the things that we need, but don't really have like a private sector ability to come in. Where we have the ability over time to become self-sufficient, it's really key. And I think that our parks, especially with Kelly's leadership, they are on the way. And I think that with the RDC, for as much as we cover, you know, plenty of things, this is a step for us to move in a direction where our sports can start to contribute towards not just attracting other business to the community, but like we say, we have a goal of making our park system self-sufficient in time. It's a big goal. Not everybody necessarily believes we can do it. I believe we can do it. I just don't think we're going to do it tomorrow. But I really think that we're moving in the right track here. I'm very excited to have somebody as capable as Dave here for us.
With your extensive experience, and you mentioned partnerships, have you had partnerships with the local school district?
Yes, and where I lived, absolutely, they play a vital part. Matter of fact, when we built Legacy Fields back in 2008, the very first youth team that came through there was a softball team. When they became seniors in high school, they won a state title. So there's a definite correlation between schools and the student athletes that are out there, students being first, athletes being second. That improves the quality of life. And when you're able to put dollars back in your community that supports that quality of life, it supports your school systems, supports your public safety side and your infrastructure. Everything works together, and it has to.
I serve as the liaison for the Portage Township Schools, so that was a question that is very meaningful to, not only to me, but to President Andy Maletta, who's in the audience.
And as a high school basketball official, I've done several games at the Portage High School, so I can attest personally how the school system works directly with their student athletes.
Andy was the one who convinced me to have the meeting with Dave, if that helps. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to bring in like a former mayor. That sounds like something that, you know, Andy got me won over to the idea, and I'm very glad that he did.
Yeah.
Nothing against you personally.
No, that's
ever.
fine. That's, I understand that. Listen, mayors can be very, I wouldn't say territorial, but, you know, the flattery is to be able to take ideas from elsewhere. I mean, I used to have with Mayor Costas and Valpo, I told Mayor, you build it first and we'll build it bigger and better in Crown Point. And that went over very well, so.
So we want to build it better than Crown Point.
Yes. I got all the trade secrets, I mean, so,
Yes,
yeah.
Scott, have you reviewed the contract?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And aye. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you guys.
Look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Scott.
Mayor.
Appreciate it. Mayor, good luck and everything.
Thank you,
Thank you
Commissioners.
so much.
Appreciate you coming to the front of the meeting. I thought I was going to be last, so sorry.
No,
folks.
no, we'll put you in front. We put all the engineers at the end.
So that gets us to Sandy for consideration, the open and award of the 2025 RDC street paving and repair project.
Good afternoon. We received 2 bids tonight, one from Milestone and one from Reith Riley. We will open Milestone's bid right now. Milestone's bid is for $1,889,245.96. $1,889,245.96. And Reith Riley. Their bid is in the amount of $1,777,555.57. $1,777,555 I would make a recommendation that we award this project to Reith Riley Construction contingent upon our attorney's review of the contract. The purpose for moving forward so quickly is because this is a community crossing matching grant project, and we need to be under contract before, I believe it's the 1st of June. So generally, contracting takes about 3 weeks for the contractor to get the bonds and everything to get signed, so we're sort of under the gun.
Dan, did we budget 1.5 million for this?
This is a 50-50 grant.
Right, it's a 50/50 grant, so that we would not be responsible for the full $177,000. We'd be responsible for, my dirty math, as the mayor would say,
So
$900,000.
it came in under our budget.
Yes,
It did come in under what we
yes.
thought it was going to be.
And Sandy and I looked at this before we even submitted the application to make sure that the budgetary funds were there.
I'll make a motion to approve the lowest and responsible bidder upon attorney and staff review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One thing, Sandy, before you leave, the amount, the total, we would be forwarding, we would be the full amount of the 50%, but the city would reimburse for those areas that are outside the allocation areas, correct?
This is a 100% RDC project. They are all of the streets are in the allocation area.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Thank you. That gets us to Eric Wolverton for American Structure Point consideration professional engineering contract with American Structure Point for Phase 3 of Central Avenue, County Line Road to Brant Street.
Good evening, Mayor, board members. Eric Wolverton with American Structure Point. I'm here to present tonight our engineering service contract for the next phase of Central Avenue. My counterpart Todd gave us an update on Phase 1 and 2, which are obviously under construction. This would be for Phase 3 and would extend from County Line over to Brant, tie into the beginning of Phase 2 project that's currently under construction. This project is being funded through NERC at a 80-20 clip, so the city is only responsible for 20%. NERC federal funds, 80% will be paying for the balance of the contract. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding the agreement.
Could you go over the timeline, given that we're, I think we're still, are we still in Phase 1 right now with Phase 2 getting the groundwork laid for it?
Yeah, so because we are utilizing federal funds in the project, as we've had to do on previous projects, there is an environmental document component. So that component, while it's what's called an additional information, because we have a previous approved environmental document, it will take about a year to get that complete. At that point, we would move into right-of-way acquisition. Believe it or not, there are 92 parcels along this corridor where right-of-way is going to need to be acquired from. And so we would anticipate that to probably take at least 15 to 18 months to acquire all that property. So once you go through the NDOT process and get to bidding, you're looking at, from today, probably 2.5, 3 years before we're going to see construction on that phase.
So can the right-of-way acquisition be done concurrently with the waiting on the environmental?
So the way this agreement is set up, and this is the way NDOT has been moving with some of their more recent documents, is that this agreement is inclusive of appraising and review appraising. NDOT and Federal Highway consider those activities to not be owner contact. And so those activities can be done concurrently and ahead of the environmental document approval. However, once you move into making offers, or what they call buying and negotiation, that is owner contact. That cannot be done until after the environmental document has been approved.
I'm only asking because I know in the past, Sandy once gave me some things that I went and I just knocked on people's doors and explained, would you be willing to sign this so we can build a sidewalk on your house? And luckily, some people were very happy to have a sidewalk, there. So they went, they signed the stuff. My question would be, any activity by the city then in this area would be a problem if we were to work on that on our own. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah. Because we're utilizing federal funds, we have to follow the Uniform Act, which doesn't allow any kind of advanced negotiation or that type of thing, especially talking dollar values with residents before the environmental document has been approved by federal highway.
When you say taking the amount of time it takes, so do you mean that we're looking at this as a 2027 project, or would it be further out when you say 2 years? Like, do you mean 2028 or beyond?
About 3 years from now. So, I mean, I know that in terms of the match associated with this agreement, in terms of the engineering funds, you know, it'll be spread over the 3 years, so your local match won't come all at one time. But we'll be able to work with the city, also work with NERC to see when they have funding available and see, you know, when really want to coincide and take the project out to bid. Because when this project does go out to bid, once the bids come in, like you just opened the bids for the community crossings, obviously a different funding source. But when the bids are open for this phase, the city at that point would have to pay 20% up front to NDOT, and then they draw down off of that during construction. So that is usually a heavier lift than paying, you know, month-to-month invoices and getting reimbursement. And so that's something you really want to plan for as a city, and we want to work with you on to make sure that you're ready when the time's appropriate to take the project to construction.
I think my other question would be, so that we understand the, issues involved here, does this impact our ability to do work on other roads as we're waiting? I think the most pressing is Brant Street, but I mean, even looking at Brown, we just did, Hickory, if there was needed work on Dombey, or we just did Blake, so hopefully Blake's okay. Does any of the rules you just described complicate any other projects? That might not be a fair question to ask you. I don't know if there's any city or staff issue there.
I don't see that there would be an issue with that.
So we'd be free to work on other issues along Central, just as long as it doesn't hit the parameters of this project, is the...
Yeah, you'd probably want to time it differently.
We've really got to take care of Brand Street. That's why I'm asking, Any other questions?
Motion to approve?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you.
Can we circle back to the paving?
Yes, the one that Sandy came
Yeah.
up for? Yeah.
What was, because we came in under what we budgeted, and it's a community crossing match, is there unused funds that we're not going to be getting?
So, exactly. Once we get our contract signed with our contractor, we submit all of the paperwork to NDOT. Once NDOT gets our agreement, they then issue us a purchase order, send us a check for half of this contract amount. Because we did not reach the $3 million threshold for the year, that means this fall I can reapply to try to get the rest of those funds. So we will definitely be doing that, which is exciting because that just means more things will get attention.
Thank you.
Of course.
And to follow up, those areas might be outside the allocation areas. So I was just looking at it, strangely you asked that question, because there, in the capital expenditure budget, it was showing a project, community crossings, pledge to allocation area resurfacing of 1.5 million, and half of the 1.777 million is 888,000. So there's going to be a balance of there's going to be a balance of $889,000 left.
And generally, with fall call projects, we don't construct that until the spring, just because we run into winter, and possibly the city of Portage would be in a better situation where they might be able to fund those projects. So we probably will be looking outside of the TIF district to do the next call projects with you.
Thank you.
Right.
I apologize, just doing some dirty math real quick. I like to call it dirty math because Dan thinks it's such a funny term
I
to
like
use.
that term.
Yeah.
As bean counters, you try to stay away from manipulating, analyzing. You're just dirty math. It's an estimate.
Tom Cherry, we have discussion for the promenade signage at Founder Square.
Yes, I wish I had something to show you, but we're still waiting for the sign company to get back with secondary plans. The promenade is asking that permission from, we'd have to lease out or however legal would say to do it. They want signage on the southeast corner of the fire department lot to advertise the promenade, the shops in the promenade. They came to us with a plan, and we asked them to go back to the drawing board and make it brick that matched our signage and our monuments, and, so they're going to come back with that. So we still haven't seen a final product yet, and I'll bring that to the board as soon as we get that. So just wanted to throw it out there that this is a promenade-funded project, so.
So we'd be giving permission, but we wouldn't be putting a cost in. Is that correct?
Correct, yeah. However that permission would work, I'd consult with Attorney McClure, so.
Attorney McClure, is there anything that we need to know ahead of that?
Is it gonna have power?
Pardon? Yes.
It's gonna have power?
Yes, sir.
Do we know who's paying for that?
They would be.
We might just give them it might be as simple, does it happen to be in a right of way?
No, it wouldn't be. No, because we have to be out of that vision triangle, so it's got to be in a bit, so.
Might be able to consider kind of a special easement to allow it to be present, allow it to be there, allow it to be fixed, the electrical maintained, but ultimately the redevelopment commission owns the property.
Right, a signage easement or,
I would think a signage easement would be the easiest way.
Yeah.
Because they would need access to be able to repair it when it needed to be repaired and maintained.
right.
And we wouldn't want to parcel anything off from a sales standpoint. So I think an easement might be the best route.
Yeah.
Assuming that we're good with the general idea, what is like what would be the motion someone would make? Or is there anything we got to study first to know what the right thing?
Yeah, I think we're probably a meeting away from being able to put.
Yeah, I'd like to show you a final product, what you're approving to be put in, so.
And then once we have the concept picture, then we'll be able to more verbally describe the easement of what it would be. We will know where power's coming from, so we'll be able
Right.
to color that picture in a little bit better.
I was hoping I'd have that by now, but I don't, so. So I guess we can table this, motion to table it, so.
Would anybody be inclined to make a motion?
Motion to table.
Second.
Well, now we have a motion. Sounded like a question. I was like, yeah. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Tom. That gets us to consideration for a use agreement with Rocks Fest.
Yeah, this is actually two concerts. It's Rocks and Ready to Live. As far as the Rocks, they are asking permission to utilize the parking lot by the baseball fields, 2500 Roy Buckley Way, the parking lot premises, as well as parcels, so the center strip in between Portage Mall and the baseball fields. The city of Portage owns all the full parcels all the way down, with the exception of a small sliver on the bottom of that strip of grass, which adjoin the parcels that go all the way to Central, if that makes sense. It's a very strange way it's cut up. So what we're asking here with the hold harmless agreement is that they can use on the 21st and the 20th and 21st of June, that parking lot, as well as those two parcels on the south. upon attorney review. Did you review this yet? You did? Okay. Acceptable? Okay.
I think there needs to be a little more discussion, but I think that document in itself is what it's supposed to be.
Okay. And there's also, do you have a copy of this in your packet?
Yeah, what is the entity putting on the concert?
Pardon?
What's the name of the entity putting on the concert?
Rocks.
But
Is it the bar
On the Rocks.
on the Rocks
correct,
bar?
On the Rocks, yep.
LLC
In
or something?
decibels,
It's the owner of the On the Rocks bar, yes.
yeah. Now, one of my recommendations or contingencies, I think we should do a contingent upon us receiving their insurance, their concert insurance form, their liability insurance.
Would
So-
such liability insurance, if they had it, would that cover cost to damage to the parking lot? I'm
Well,
concerned, I mean, I'm always concerned about our property, but in particular, I think the actual parking lot by the Little League field, if that got damaged by somebody, would such insurance for an event like that be able to cover? Is that what we're trusting?
Well, I can give an example of the limits. I do have insurance for the second event.
Sure.
This event, they can't get the insurance until they see an approval from, we got the approval from Board of Works and now RDC, and then the insurance policy can be issued.
Well, the
according
Board
to
of
them.
Works approval was contingent on police and fire approval. Did they secure
And
that?
insurance.
Yeah, but did
Yep.
they secure well, it sounds like they haven't gotten the insurance secured yet, right? Because,
Not yet, not yet.
Did they get
So
the
we
pol-
should do a contingent upon that.
well, I was gonna say, did the police and fire, have they signed off yet? Because my understanding was police and fire was still working with them.
No, we're still working on that. We're meeting with them next week. They're trying to figure out how many off-duty personnel they're going to employ. That's the last bit of this.
Is there an issue in terms of either timing or the success of it? How do I put it? I mean, I'd like to know that the police have reviewed and approved, same with the fire, before we, give approval for something,
You guys can do whatever you want.
I guess what I'm wondering though is, does it complicate, like they can't get what they need until they have this?
They probably won't have, according to them, they can't get the liability insurance. So,
Unless
the
we-
concert insurance,
So-
without approval from the city.
So if we give approval to use like the parking lot and the space contingent on getting the liability insurance, that allows them to get the liability insurance? And I'm sorry if I sounded very ridiculous as I said that. I guess it sounds like a
Yes.
loop to me. They can't get the liability insurance without our approval, but we're saying we want to give them approval contingent on getting liability insurance. Am I overthinking it? I'm just a little concerned that the liability insurance is going to say, well, hold on, you don't have their approval until you get us. If I knew somebody who worked in an insurance company, I wonder if I could get an answer to such a question.
Well,
if I'm just
that was the
overthinking it.
approval Board of Works gave them just 2 days ago, so.
I guess I didn't realize that I'm on Board of Works, so full disclosure, we approved it contingent on police and fire and, insurance.
And insurance.
I don't think I knew that insurance wasn't going to give them insurance unless they had this approval.
Approval from the city.
Approval from in this case, the RDC and
So in theory, Mayor, I would defer to council, but my understanding of it would be they can take that letter or minutes stating to the liability company, the insurance liability company, and say they've approved it, but they're not going to fully approve it until you give us the insurance.
Correct. But should
that be a
this
correct assumption?
document needs to be in the name of that
Right.
entity, not
Right.
the owner.
And to explain fully is that Mr. Cherry and I were talking about this and realized that the two parcels on the south side that are owned by the Redevelopment Commission, although not part of the city's approval, there may be spillover that happens on our parcel, and just to cover ourselves, I said,
we might
Mr.
as
Cherry,
well.
bring this up to the Redevelopment Commission, otherwise, we're gonna have to rope it off, which means someone's still gonna go on that property, eventually.
I've been to enough concerts to know that such things happen.
Right.
So, yeah. I'm sorry if I'm overthinking. I just want to make sure we're not creating a weird situation,
You did not create an infinite loop of discussion.
Right. I guess I just would feel a lot better if they already had the police and fire approval.
So I guess
You know,
If
and-
someone were to make an,
Have we ever discussed what the limits are for the special event insurance that we require?
No, we probably need to review that with our insurance company to make sure it's adequate. But we don't have that yet, so it's hard to, you know.
And I-
Or maybe we do contingent upon acceptance of a review.
You do have the policy for one that has gotten a little farther down the road.
Correct. The one that's already done events in our Founders Square. So it's a different location, but
Do we believe it's the same insurance company?
I don't know that. I really don't.
And again, I want to apologize. At Board of Works, it made a lot of sense to say we approve contingent on police approval, fire approval, and you get your insurance.
Right.
So at this meeting, though, this is where I'm a little confused, being told they can't get insurance until they have this approval. And I guess I'm wondering, was that also true at Board of Works? Like, did Board of Works giving approval with that contingency already approve their insurance to use? Again, you see where I'm a little confused. You know, it made a lot more sense when I thought insurance was something you get, you prove it, and then you get our approval, like the contingency is met, you know? You're saying that they can't get insurance unless they have.
That's
this
what I've
base.
been told. You guys do it, you know, you're the board. I'm just the middleman.
so they're saying they need full approval, not contingent approval to get insurance?
I don't know that. I
Well,
really
if
don't.
the redevelopment commission doesn't take action, as I stated, we're gonna have to rope off or separate that parcel from
Right.
other uses.
I guess
And
that,
block that road, because
And-
part of the road
Yeah, and block the road,
It's really
because the
not a
road
road, it's our
is on our
driveway.
land too.
I guess it would make sense to me for us to approve this contingent, well, again, there might be more that our attorney's gonna say, but I guess to start, if we were to approve the use of the land contingent on having the insurance, and of course, you know, police and fire approval for the event, or maybe that's a roundabout way to say that they meet the criteria that Board of Works gave them, we can approve it. And if that creates a loop or a problem for the insurance company, maybe they need to reach out to us after to let us know if it does.
I don't think that's going to be an issue, but I think we should state with I think we need our insurance company to, our city insurance to review as well, so. So we may want to state, you know, for both concerts, I think we should review, as Attorney McClure said, look at the limits and make sure it's adequate for our property.
Right.
So,
I mean, if the limit needs to be increased from X to Y, they're
Right.
gonna need the insurance regardless.
yeah, so I think we need a review after we get these insurance policies in hand. Now, I do have one for the second concert that I'm going to bring up, but as soon as we have them all, I think we need to have a review with our city insurance. So I don't know what kind of motion that would be, but, you
So I
know,
want to be careful, because it sounds like the second event, they have their,
they do, but we don't know if it's adequate or not.
I
We need
see.
to get it reviewed.
so maybe it's a motion potentially to approve or something, either contingent on legal review, or maybe we're just going to ask our attorney to review it and then bring it back to the next meeting? Is that the better idea?
Contingent upon,
I mean,
So you would entertain a motion to approve the use of the property under the same conditions that the city Board of Public Works approved, in addition to a final determination of the insurance limits that it would be required
thank you.
by
That-
city
So
policy,
moved.
so moved,
Including
as stated.
Who is the signatory,
including who is the signatory.
right?
Yes. Would that be acceptable, Attorney? Yes.
Okay. Sorry for making that long. Again, this seemed a lot simpler at Board of Works, and something kind of stuck with me here, and I'm like, wait, I just want to make sure we're not falling in a loop, you know? Sounds like we're good. I think we heard a first, but I didn't hear a second. Did someone second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
The second one is Ready to Live Entertainment, and they're doing the function on May 17th. They are just utilizing the property in that strip, those two parcels. They will not be utilizing the parking lot by the ball field. So that's May 17th. We have received their insurance, and I will have this reviewed. So we might want to do the same motion for Ready to Live.
Tom, what was that Ready to Live?
Yeah, Ready to Live Entertainment. They are the ones that did the 3-6 Mafia concert last year.
My understanding is that it's not 3-6 Mafia coming back for an encore.
I don't know.
though.
It's Jobo and
It's
Eddie
like
and
the
Jobo
DJs,
or-
right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
B96, something. I think. I can call my wife real quick. She'll know. So.
Was there a motion on that?
So move.
And is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, is there a way where we can direct staff to put together a requirements for hosting events?
I'm actually going to put together, in fact, I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to put together an actual contract.
Yeah.
Something that shows how many off-duty police you need to hire according to ticket sales and just everything we need in a contract.
Limits of liability.
Yeah, limits of liability. This is new to us, these big concerts, so.
How long we need your application before you're at
Right,
the concert.
right. So this doesn't happen next
So that we're
year.
not negotiating these things
Correct.
out or dealing
Right.
with all
It's
these
going to be
what-ifs.
seamless, and we just come for the approval, yeah, so.
And it's somewhat of a special events program, specific to how much in advance do you need the property available? Do you need to set up for 1 day, 2 days? How long, what's the agreement to clean up and be off the property? What's the insurance limits? What's the potential usage? How many fire, police, ambulatory, whatever you may need as a public service out there, so we understand it up front.
Now, I do have a written plan from Roxfest, and that outlines all of that,
Right.
cleanup and how many security personnel and the whole map of the area. So
Right.
we do have that, but we need a contract.
Right, but this would keep
So-
it uniform across the board.
Right. So, and I think that's kind of what the insurance companies are
Right.
looking for, is that
Policy.
it's almost like a permit, you know?
Well, it's a policy, and here's
Correct.
what you have, and here's the application,
Right.
here's the policy, in order to go before the redevelopment commission or the city.
Right. So this is kind of a new thing that we're trying to make successful, and I think, but Greg, to your point, we're working on that, so, yeah.
Well, thank you. That gets us to consideration for professional services contract for Portage Mall parking lot. Tom, did you want to start up with that?
Actually, I could let you prep it.
Yeah, so there's been talk online, there's been talk around. I mean, it's come up for a number of years. The Portage Mall parking lot, which I try to call the Portage Historic Parking Lot, because it really is our historic downtown. I mean, it literally at one time had everything from the unemployment office where my grandmother worked once upon a time. It included grocery stores, more restaurants. It had a whole east side. At one point, it even had a church. Nativity of Our Savior here in Portage started out as one of 2 drive-in churches in the entire country where people came to Mass in the 60s. They parked their car, and it was like a drive-in movie, but you were at Mass. I mean, the Portage Mall really was our city's or our town's downtown for a very long time. One of the challenges, though, is that it always had basically a joint unified parking lot. And for a time, there was a Portage Mall Association, which the property owners of it paid into, and that led to the maintenance of the parking lot. It turns out, and there's people who are smarter than me when it comes to the law, but sometime after the 60s or the 70s, that association turned out to not be correctly legally set up. And so we have had what now remains of our Portage Mall. We have one parking lot, but it's divided into multiple properties. It's an issue because if we're just talking about filling, potholes or doing a mill and fill, any individual property owner has the ability to fix their part. But to actually fix the bigger structural issues of the parking lot that continue to make it deteriorate, even no matter what maintenance you do to it, it was built as one parking lot, and ultimately getting it resolved is going to need having it fixed up as one parking lot. I mean, I think that simply put, being divided as it is into multiple properties, the best solution would be for the mall association to come back but in a way that's enforceable so it doesn't dissolve like what happened in the past. The RDC, we are literally the Redevelopment Commission, and part of our mission is to fix challenging property situations, restore blighted and complicated areas, and the Portage Mall is a very complicated area. Our city code post the 70s does not allow this situation to happen, which means we've got one grandfathered in situation in our city. It just happens to be the heart of our downtown. In order to try to remedy that, there have been attempts made to try to get the property owners together, often led by the city. Those efforts have not been successful over the years for different reasons, but I don't fault the work that went into it. We approach this as an RDC. How can we lead and try to get this area fixed up? So what we did, and it was a process, rather than trying to meet with all the property owners all at once, we started meeting with them individually to find out their goals for the properties they bought, what they want to see happen, and also address the somewhat awkward question of, would you guys rather bring the association back, or would you rather have what's called a business improvement district, or a BID, which is actually where the city or some entity of it would buy the parking lot in pieces from them, get it fixed, and then they would pay a special tax that goes into the maintenance of that lot. In all cases, the RDC, we are a special taxing district that the mall is within, and as we're tasked to restore and bring economic development to an area, this unique legal situation is one we want to solve. What we found by meeting one-on-one with the property owners is that for different reasons, they're not all in a position to sell their piece of the parking lot. In some cases, that has to do with having mortgages or other complications. So the smoothest thing appears to be to get the Mall Property Owners Association going again. But even putting the association together again does not necessarily mean that we have the money to put together to do the project necessary for the mall parking lot. And that's where the Redevelopment Commission comes in. Our idea would be to join the association as a property owner in the mall and find out what it would actually be to design a fix to the mall parking lot. And then how do we split up the costs? So the steps for us is we have a design for the mall parking lot, then we have the association form, and then the RDC would share the design with the association, and then we would see if we could come to an agreement financially on how we're going to do that. I say that because the steps are important. Having the design of what it would take to get this parking lot where it needs to be to function as a real downtown mall, that's like step one, or at least maybe a concurrent step. Step two is being able to come up with a financial agreement that the property owners can agree to. And step three, or a concurrent step, is setting up the mall association so that in the future, the ongoing maintenance of this parking lot will be covered by the mall owners going forward. It doesn't become something that the city has to step in again because we've set it up right the first time. As the city has played a part in correctly setting up the parking lots and, I believe, all the other commercial areas in the city since the 70s. Did that capture it enough, Tom?
Yeah, and it also encompasses the back alley. Right now, you can't even do deliveries in the back, so all the deliveries with semis, which is contributing to the deterioration of the parking lot, deliveries are all up front. So this also includes the back alley and constructing that properly for rear deliveries. So
being able to have an actual alley behind it and having the deliveries done in the back, it absolutely does that. It preserves the parking lot without the wear and tear of semis going in there.
Capable of semi-traffic back there.
I think that I'm not as qualified to speak on it, but part of the issue with the parking lot structurally is the drainage issue with it. I mean, if you've ever been there when it's raining, I mean, it is a flood, and no one person can fix that issue. And again, it speaks to the fact that regardless of what property lines say, it's physically one parking lot with a messy situation underneath it.
Yeah, so we're going to focus on that as well as lighting, proper lighting. So.
My hope is that we're able to move forward in creating a design that would actually be a design, and then we know the cost, and then we're able to negotiate with the property owners how much skin in the game each person needs to be able to contribute to the final fix. But then I think that most important piece, though, too, is even after the fix, that we set up an institution, an association. I'd compare it to an HOA, although people hear HOA and they think houses, you know, that's able to do the maintenance going forward in the most appropriate way. It's possible that steps 2 or 3 might not work. I'm very optimistic because we've had such great conversations with each of the property owners. But I think it's important to understand that step one is having a design so that we can then present the design and negotiate that cost of spreading that out with the other property owners in the mall.
We've got a lot of great new owners, so.
And I think that that speaks to really what a great time this is. There have been points in the history of the mall where there weren't necessarily enough property owners involved or enough things going on. At this point, the mall has the Social Goat, which is a family restaurant, as well as a bar. Some people think that it's just a bar, but I mean, there was a very young girl doing, I think she was 8 years old, doing dance instructions there when I went there, and I was like, oh, that's cool to see. Someone needs to take a picture to show this is a restaurant. We have Bam Pizza doing very well there. Moods, which is just a bar. Don't confuse it with the Social Goat if you're bringing your kid for line dancing, but it just reopened. We've got the Regional Performance Theater expanding there. We, of course, have the Painted Apple. There's a Taekwondo studio, a dance and fitness studio. I think that if there was ever an opportunity where the mall had a shot at really coming alive, and an opportunity where we have the ability, where we've got interested property owners that want to see this happen, I think that this is the window.
Bam Pizza just opened up there.
Oh, yeah.
So, yep.
And I think I said Bam too, but I think we're both
Did
hungry.
you say Bam?
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry.
I think
Double plug. So.
I think the big thing that I have found is that over the years, I've seen various different concept plans that the city has paid for, and for whatever reason, you know, mostly cost, didn't go through with. So many of them just had the mall erased, as if we had the means to just buy everything out and knock it down and start completely over. But with the local businesses that have located in the mall, I can't think of any reason why we want that to be the future. Simply put, I think that this is where our downtown starts and grows around. And so, yes, it is an investment from the RDC, but I believe that the opportunity is very much in the RDC's mission of redeveloping and solving a complicated property issue that's stopping an infrastructure improvement. And I think with that said, I don't want to see the mall, and I've said this now in multiple ribbon-cutting ceremonies in the mall. I've said this to the Chamber of Commerce. I do not want to see the mall go away. I don't think that it's as simple as you just knock buildings down and then everybody fills into a field. I think that the mall is where we have our local business, and I think that it being more successful attracts other people and other companies that want to be around it. So I say all that just to explain how close this is to me. But I can't stress the first step is just having a design so that we're able to negotiate, figure out if we can move forward with it, and that's where this proposal comes in.
Dan, have you reviewed this as well?
I have looked at it.
Okay.
And I put together some preliminary numbers on how to potentially cost allocate the total cost for the project to the property owners over a 10 and over a 15-year period, so.
Are you in a position to recommend approval of this contract, the personal service agreement?
Sure.
Okay.
I've looked at that. Yep.
So we're asking that, or staff recommends approval for the professional service agreement with A&Z Engineering not to exceed $136,670.
Scott, have you reviewed it?
I haven't, but you can approve it contingent upon my review.
Make a motion to approve upon legal review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I think that's it. Yep. Joe, it's on you.
So that gets us to consideration for Abinmarch GIS Services Task Number 001102 for Pacer Mapping.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. My name is Joe Eberts from Abinmarsh. I'd like to actually give you two different points here. The existing contract, and then we'd talk about the proposed, which is basically just the project ad with a not-to-exceed limit of $8,000. So the existing contract, which is mostly complete, was set up into 4 tasks. The first task being project management, which is obviously ongoing. The second task was to back up the existing GIS and SDE databases, which has been done. Trevor has the SDE database files in his possession, so if you ever need those as a backup, you have them. The third task was to move all of the services to AGOL, which the Field Forces currently maintains and pays for. So all of that has been done, except Pazer links have to require reconnection. So that would be outlined in the next directive. And then the last task, of course, is the most important, I think, the updating the RDC TIF allocation areas and doing the sunset mapping. So a draft of that is available for review online, and we'll take any comments on that. And then there was one additional requirement that was outside the tasks, which was to transfer the ESRI accounts from Abin-Marsh to Field Forces and the RDC. Virginia has agreed to take care of any of the billing issues. We've kind of outlined the steps that are needed to do that transfer, so that's in process with ArcGIS Online and ESRI, the parent company that does ArcGIS Online. So now I'm going to talk about the proposed not to exceed. So this is basically for some other tasks which were outlined by the Redevelopment Commission staff and other staff of the city. The idea here is to basically reconnect some of those Pazer links that we had talked about, updating to the online zoning map, which is the official map. So everything that's been done in the last couple of years needs to be put onto that map. And then to modify any existing maps in ArcGIS Online to meet city staff. Haley had actually mentioned some issues concerning the zoning and parcel search, so that would be one of the small tasks to take care of that. I'm willing to entertain any questions about either.
Any questions?
Members of the commission, I did speak with Joe on this as well as other individuals, and would recommend that the supplemental agreement, the additional work be approved, mostly for the reasons of the additional assistance for the parcel information to assist community development and planning, as well as to integrate and link the Pazer report, which is the pavement asphalt surface evaluation report, I believe, if my memory is correct.
Correct.
Which is through which the community grant funds occur. So in reality, the GIS, if those roads were in the GIS system, we can query the GIS system to say how much is in allocation areas, how much is outside, and we'd know what the cost allocate immediately. So that would be helpful, and I would recommend it for under those reasons and for those purposes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
That gets us to 8.8, Bill Rathjen, consideration of real estate matters. Before we do, Wilma, are you okay on time, or do you want to bring up your, if it's okay, Dan, Wilma's going to need to be going, but I wanted to make sure. I apologize. There was something that needed to be forwarded to you. I think an email was sent to multiple people, and I believe it included you, but it's the school's application for the grant. I've sent that to you by email, but I just want to note that that's been received. And my question was, as far as the application goes, if needed, do we need to review that and maybe have a special meeting if need be?
I have since received it, and what I will do is review that. And if there's, typically what happens is that it is received in April, and then a determination is made sometime in June, only because at that point we'll know what the distribution is for the fiscal year 25 tax increment revenue distribution, and then we take the 15% of that. Well, what we do is we have to calculate 15% of the net distribution that's available after payment of debt services, because we do not want to go into default in any bonds because of the 15% issue. But by the June meeting, we should have a better understanding of what can actually be granted.
My question was, based on what the school applied for, is June okay, or is there a need to know sooner based on what was applied?
I believe that June should be okay. What we want to do with that money, if it is approved, is to provide laptop devices for all our 2nd and 8th grade students. So they will be using those devices for assessments, for everyday learning. And so, you know, the goal milestone is that all of our 100% of our students would have access to a personal learning device ready for day 1 in August. So I believe, I can't really speak for that particular department, but it should be, they should be ready if they are ordered in June.
So
We
the
should-
reason for the scheduling on the April application due is so that we can get everything organized and prepared. If approved, the educational institutions have an opportunity to move forward as of July 1st, which is when their fiscal year starts.
Yes,
So that was the intent.
so,
So-
thank
So
you
now
for
you
that.
understand the reasoning behind the April 15th.
And I
The
think
May
that
to review in June can be approved, or it may be approved, and then the funds will be available.
Well, and I think I can also state, I believe Portage Township Schools was the only entity that applied. So I know that when
okay.
we first set this up, there was a concern of like, what happens if someone else does? And we said, well, we have to review everybody, but PTS was the only entity that submitted an application. So we don't even have that issue of weighing different ones.
I'll make sure to report that to the board and the superintendent. Thank you.
I have a feeling she was watching these meetings, so yeah. Thank you so much, Wilma. And so then if we could go to Mr. Rathjen with the real estate matters.
Good evening, Commissioners. Got a few items for you tonight. The first one being parcel 152017 on the north side. This is a parcel that we have a existing LOI on with the seller. We did not get the appraisals back in time for this meeting, but we do anticipate some problems coming back with the appraisals on the pricing. And I would request that you authorize the mayor to enter into final negotiations when those appraisals do come back, which will be at a lower value than what we agreed to originally.
So just to clarify, the request is for the ability to negotiate, but knowing that it's going to be lower than what we were prepared to pay already, assuming
Correct.
the seller is agreeable.
It would definitely be a lower number, and we negotiate and move it directly into a purchase sales agreement, if the seller agrees.
Make the motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a couple issues on some land we are attempting to acquire out on Samuelson Road. I will need a motion to authorize for two appraisals on the 17 acres of parcel 452-001. This is to follow the purchase procedure required by the state.
Do you have a dollar amount on that?
Yes, I do. You think I'd be prepared? That is $3,800.
I'll make the motion to approve not to exceed $4,000 for the appraisal for parcel 452001.
If you can amend that too, to authorize the mayor to sign the appraisal engagements.
And amend it to authorize the mayor to sign.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, similar, is a property south of that, a 24-acre parcel that we would need to do the same thing, but this parcel, I am recommending that we offer an LOI with the contingent terms on it first, before we go to the appraisals. So if we can authorize the mayor to sign an LOI for the property on an offer we will be presenting to the seller. That is parcel 452-003.
Make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign an offer of LOI for parcel 452003.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. I think you'll wait for me to say thank you after, so.
Got a couple more to go. This is relative to the Burns Parkway extension up on the north side. We have some permanent right-of-ways and/or fee simple purchase of some property needed for the roadway and the bridge. In this, we will also need appraisals for this land. I don't have costs for them quoted yet, but if we could, I'd like to have a not-to-exceed authorization up to $5,000 for the two appraisals of that property.
Do I say something?
I
don't know if I'm allowed to make a motion, so, yeah.
We would need a motion authorizing the expense not to exceed $5,000 for two appraisals, and that would be on parcel 200-001.
Make a motion to authorize the two appraisals not to exceed $5,000 for the parcels 200-001.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next issue is a control issue, and working with Tom on, we have a issue with trespassers up on the north side. And we have an issue where we have multiple firms or people that need access, and we're trying to figure out how to control it. So we have a quote to install 2 gates up on the north side property right at Stagecoach. I'm not sure what the designation of the road going south of there
It's up by
is.
Nickty,
Chicago? Okay.
Nickty parking lot.
I think it's Old Chicago
Chicago,
Road.
yeah.
I don't know if it's a real road, but it's named Old Chicago Road.
Okay, Old Chicago Road and Stagecoach, two controlling gates there. The cost we had is $12,611. I would ask for a motion to proceed with that as quickly as we can.
Motion to proceed.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And that's the end, right?
Nope.
Oh, nope, no, okay.
No, I have one more, and this one you'll like, because this one creates income. You purchased 17 acres down on Southport last year, and on that is a sign that is owned by Outfront Media. We were paid for that lease of that sign up through March 31st via the closing of the property. Now we need to sign our own lease with it. So we have a lease that we need to complete, review, and sign. It accounts for $11,000 of income a year to the RDC for 5 years. And then after 5 years, years 6 through 10 will be $12,000. So we have the draft of the contract, so contingent upon legal review, we'd like the authorization for the mayor to sign that lease agreement.
Motion to authorize the mayor to sign the lease agreement upon legal review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 That is all.
That was all?
That's all.
Hey, $11,000 a year. Can you guys imagine what we can do with that? That's like,
We can buy 2 gates.
You can build 2 gates.
you can build 2 gates
Put
with
up-
that.
Yeah, 9/10 of a gate.
Are there other matters to come before the board, Mr. Cherry?
Sorry, I'll make these quick. We were notified that the skylight over at the NERC 6100 Southport building is leaking. The dome is actually cracked, it's aged and cracked. It goes above my, my limit, where I do need to come to the board on this. I asked Babilla Roofing to take a look at this. They gave us 2 options. One is to remove and replace dome with the new dome for $3,643, or remove dome and cover up with plywood and TPO membrane. It's a flat roof, $2,671. The negative to closing it up is in the inside lobby, you do have the recess in there, and it would just be black at that point.
Yeah,
So-
replacement sounds better.
Pardon?
Replacement does sound better.
It does, for 1,000 more, yeah. So I wanted to leave that up to the board and let me know which direction you wanted me to go in, so.
Is there any discussion or questions on that?
We need Andy to have his sunlight.
Yeah, Andy, like this is.
Oh, that's right, Andy. You
Andy, is
want the
this your
sunlight, or-
office, like, or is this the lobby?
Some more requests when you're done with that.
Okay, all right.
I'll make a motion to approve the removal and replacement for $3,643.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Mr. Cherry, was there more?
One more thing. This is the annual.
And before you go, Tom, and keep in mind, guys, we got to stay for the RDA meeting after. That's our RDA, not the bigger one. Yeah, someone got confused earlier, and I had to explain that no, that we're not letting them use the space. Well, they don't want the space anyway. Go ahead, Tom. I'm sorry.
This is our annual permission for our RDCR Northland for our land watchers, permission to bow hunt Latham McBriar and Gabe Acevedo. He's one of our police officers. They do an extremely good job keeping an eye on our property up there. So we do the form every year. So last year we did the same thing. So permission, I'd like to have Attorney McClure look over the agreement first, but like to get permission this year.
Let me just say how much I appreciate having the form, because when you're given permission like this, I definitely think you want to have all ducks in a row, yeah.
So we have a lot of trespassers up there, and I'm going to instruct the police department wants those two to have these forms on them, so anybody else up there is trespassing. So it's a way to keep track of who's up there and who's not supposed to be up there, so.
Motion to approve upon legal review.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anything else,
Thank
Tom?
you. That's it. Thank you.
Tiffany, did you want to come up? I know that you wanted to speak at the last one. Are we, I just didn't want to. I'm good right now. Absolutely. It's something I'm going to check on in these meetings, because I looked back, and in some meetings, we've had people come up during the other as necessary, and you being someone who works with the city, I just wanted to give you the opportunity, so thank you. All right. Anything else, or is there a motion to adjourn? Or is there anyone else in the audience that wants to speak? I'm sorry, it wasn't just one. Yeah. I think we're good.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.